دستور نداری يا صاحب السيف الشيخ عبد الكريم الكبريسي عرباني نداری. We are running away from shaitan to be under the protection and the dome of Allah. The domes of Allah in one ayat is referring to His friends. That's why you can build domes over them. It's okay. You must build domes. Because in another ayat, the Sahaba al-Kahf, those sleepers who sleep for a long time with their dog, when it was discovered their place, the Quran is saying, the people of the town say, we must build a dome over them, build a masjid. Wahhabis hate the domes of Allah. Of course, they hate anything connected to the awliya Allah. Saying that ayat says, don't build dome or stand next to them, next to their graves. Just like the Wahhabis, they cut and they pick. They mislead. They don't give you the whole story. They only take whatever fits to their ego. That ayat is continuing. That ayat says, don't stand next to them or pray next to their graves. And the ayat is continuing, if they are unbelievers. It does not apply to the believers. That's why in the history of Islam for 1400 years, the going to the graves, it is a very big practice, because it is the practice of the Rasulullah ﷺ, who used to visit the graves of his uncles and speak. Sahabi Kiram visiting the graves of the Rasulullah ﷺ, visiting the graves of those ones who have passed in the name of Allah, with Allah's permission, asking through them, because they are the best wasila, they are the best means to approach to Allah. In another ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, seek the best means to approach to me. And the best means to approach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not through our ego, not through our intelligence, not through our practices, not through our worship. The best means to approach to Allah is through those ones that Allah calls, these are my friends, my beloved ones. Anything that they ask, I'm not going to refuse. In fact, it is obligation for you to love them, because the friends of Allah, they are the inheritors of the prophets. And Allah put a condition. Allah is giving an order to His holy Prophet ﷺ, saying, say to them, Ya Muhammad, if you love Allah, you must love me and obey me for Allah to love you. So there is a condition there. So we are running away from shaitans outside and inside, under the domes of Allah. And we're asking support from our Shaykh, Sahibul Saif, to send us something that is going to be beneficial to us here and hereafter. Whichever of the favors of your Lord can you deny? If the man sits down and thinks and understands what is the ni'mat, what is the favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to him, with the use of one eye, that is enough for him to reach to a level of marifat. To understand how special it is, how blessed it is. For the man to start thinking about the favors of Allah that is present inside of him, outside of him, in this world that Allah has blessed, because Allah has created everything for us. Allah has created the Jannat for us. Allah has created the Jahannam for us too. Allah has created the dunya for us, and everything in creation Allah has created for the man. For whom? For his Khalifa. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I have created you for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us for this world or for other worlds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I've created you for me. And remember your promise to me. The promise that you gave me, the promise when we were so close to each other, the promise that you said, indeed, you are my Lord. The promise that we made on the day of promises, on the day of Qalubala, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to us, am I not your Lord? The person who is entering into tariqat, spirituality, he is in the beginnings, in a very great and blessed beginnings of fulfilling that promise that he made to his Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because now he is going to learn that his Lord is always there with him. He is looking and always asking. Because that question was not just asked one time during pre-eternity. The question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had asked from pre-eternity until post-eternity. And every single day, for a believer, for a man, for a woman who thinks, Allah is asking us that question every single day. Am I not your Lord? Allah is speaking to us. His Prophet is speaking to us. The angels, they are speaking to us. The friends of Allah, they are speaking to us every single time. But when our hearts are dirty and is busy, we're not going to hear their voices. We're only going to hear the voice of this dunya. We're only going to hear the voice of shaitan. We're only going to hear the voice of our hawa, and especially we're going to hear the voice of our ego. Now, whose voice are you going to listen to? And how are you going to now separate those voices? Find someone. It's going to make you to understand yourself a little bit. Make you to understand what is coming from whom. And that time, you start living your life answering to that question every time. When every day, you're going to say, Qalu Bala. Indeed, you are my Lord. You're going to wake up with that faith. You're going to go to sleep with that faith. You're going to eat with that faith. You're going to worship with that faith. So many, they ask me, how do I have concentration in my worship? Why is it that when I'm worshiping, I lack the concentration? It's very easy. Because you don't remember Allah outside of your namaz, outside of your salah. How that time when you are going to remember Allah, when you are saying Allahu Akbar and praying? How are you going to be? Because once you say Allahu Akbar, that is the time the shaitans and the nafs is attacking you non-stop. Things you never thought of outside of prayer, you're going to think inside of prayer. But if you're not training outside of prayer how to remember your Lord, how to answer to your Lord, how to be close and how to be connected through your daily worship, through your daily activities, making your daily activities to become worship. If you're not doing that, how that time when you're making a couple of movements, robotic movements, is going to have an effect on you? But the one who is remembering Allah and remembering His Prophet, ﷺ, and remembering our Shaykh, then that time, when he comes to pray, he's going to be very relaxed. Not only he's going to remember his Shaykh in front of him. His Shaykh in front of him leading the prayers. Especially in the Hanafi Mazhab. In the Jamaat, you don't have to do anything. Whatever the Imam is doing, you are following. The intention is that. I'm not saying now don't do anything. I'm saying when you are connected that way, your prayer is not going to affect you like that. that you are going to be so unfocused and worried. Because now you say, yes, there is a prayer that is connecting me to Allah. But my whole day, my whole life is now the actions that I'm doing, working, taking care of my family, doing things in this dunya, making things. Everything has to be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just in your head too, doing something and then can say, no. You're going to look at the thing that you're doing and you're going to remember what were the actions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ in this matter. What are the actions of the awliya Allah in this matter? What are the actions of our Shaykh? At that time, you have taqwa. Taqwa. You have taqwa. All this is to teach us this taqwa. How can you not be in taqwa when you're remembering your Lord, when you're answering to Him? Slowly, the veils of your heart will start opening. Slowly, you'll be able to understand the reality of this world, what this world has to offer. Slowly, you start to understand the reality of the tricks and traps of this dunya, the confusion of this dunya. And whatever that you're busy with other than Allah, that is your dunya. And slowly, you start to build a connection to Akhirat. And any association, anything that you do, if you don't mention the name of Allah and His Prophet, ﷺ, you're going to feel very tight. You're going to feel very anxious because there's no blessing that is coming down. And quickly now everything that you are doing, you're going to remember your Lord. Then when you look in front of you, your Lord will teach you what you're looking and what is the lesson and what is the hikmat, what is the wisdom behind it. You look at nature, it will teach you about yourself and about your Lord. You look at the world events, it will reveal itself. You look at your own life and you start understanding yourself. You start understanding your life. You start understanding, why are you repeating these things? Where is the point that I'm stuck and I'm just not taking off? I'm just circling around and around. You start understanding, that's the time you start asking for help. Slowly, you will come out from that. The khutbah is speaking about history, correct? We are living the history. Don't think the history is the past. You are living the history. Someday someone is going to talk about you. Now, how are you going to make a connection to the history of the world, to Islam, to spirituality, to the events that are going to happen in the future, if you're not looking at your own history? If you're not understanding your own history, your own life, your own movement? You are here today. How did I get here? Good or bad? How did I get here? Why did I get here? What happened? What made me to come? This way is only for those ones who have discipline and intelligence and sincerity. Because so easy people say, well, it's taqdir, it is destiny. Everything you're saying is destiny. Especially if it's something bad, mankind is going to say it's destiny. If it's something good, mankind is going to say, I did it. With my effort, I did this and I did this, therefore I get this. You start saying that, you're going against the ayat of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to know that everything bad that happens to you, it is coming from your ego, and anything good that happens to you, it is happening because of Allah. What is going to happen on the day of judgment? What's going to happen? They're going to give you a book, correct? May our books be given to us on our right side, not on our left, or not from behind us. What is that book? That is what we should be worried about. On the day of judgment, our book is going to be open, and the whole mankind, the whole prophets and all the saints and the awliyas and everything in creation, the angels and other ones, they're going to be witness to our books. What is written there, what we have written. We should be worried about that. It's not the book of Quran that is going to happen. That is not ours, that is Allah's book. We're going to open our book. Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, 1 hour of meditation, it is better than 70 years of worship. Tafakkur. Not as some people thinking meditation is to sit in a special way, let your mind to free associate and do this, and that is not meditation in Islam. Tafakkur, it is to sit and is to understand you, your life, yourself. If you do not understand yourself, impossible for you to know Allah. If you don't know Allah, you have not fulfilled the reason of your creation. So tariqat is not something that is optional, something that is only for a few people. Tariqat, it is to make people to understand the reason of their creation. But majority, they are heedless. Majority, they reject. This is the opposite of elitism. The elitism, to say we are the highest ones and we only give the knowledge to whom we choose, the best ones. But Allah and His prophets, they say we have the highest knowledge, and this knowledge, it is open to the whole of mankind. But very few step forward. It comes with a price. What is that price? We finished the Qurban. The price is that sacrifice. What sacrifice? An animal? Allah doesn't need an animal. Allah does not need blood to be spilled. That Qurban, it is to sacrifice ourselves. What? Ourselves? Our ego that separates us from Allah. Without sacrificing your ego, you're not going to get submission. So now we start to understand ourselves a little bit, maybe. Being with Shaykh Effendi, years, understanding where our submission goes. Where we are stuck, where our ego is not making us to make some progress. We are trying. Yeah, of course, everyone here has good intentions. You are praying, you are fasting, you're doing everything. But here we're talking about what? Islam. We're talking about submission now. And this is the key point, to submit now to a sheikh, that so many they fail. They say, ego tricks us, and we look at him and say, you are a man like me, who are you to tell me something? Just the way that the mushrik said to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, you are a shepherd, you're an orphan. So we should concentrate on that, the book. If the man who is looking to his book every day to see what he has written in his book every day, before he goes to sleep, or as he is living through his life in the day, that at least 5 times a day Allah is making us to pull back away from the world and to start thinking about what? Thinking about our life, our afterlife, thinking about death. Yet, how many of us take that opportunity 5 times a day to think that we are going to die? While we're praying that the angel of death may take our lives. Inshallah. That's what we're praying for, I hope. That is the best way to go. That's why the Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying what? Pray every prayer as if it is your last prayer. So when that happens, you're starting to what? Understand yourself, understand your book, understand what is written there. And as much as you are fixing it, in that time on the day of judgment, they will just give you a free pass. You say, this one, they already audited it. We don't need to do it. And believe me, that day it is a very long, a very chaotic, a very frightening, it is a very scary day. And that day is real. Whatever that is happening to us today, this is not real. It's going to pass. So yes, prepare yourselves for death. Live your life to prepare yourself for death. That time, your life is going to be sweet, it's going to be bearable. And your akhirat will be very bright. Otherwise, you will live your life in complete fear that you are going to die, like majority of the people are. And anything that is going to touch you, make you uncomfortable, is going to be a complete disaster to you. This world is not a paradise. We have not been sent to this world to make it into a paradise. This world is just passing through. We have a long journey ahead. May Allah forgive us, inshallah. Ya Fatiha. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.